Hello everyone and welcome back to the Alfie Lambert Football Channel, where today is a different one. The title might seem a bit confusing, so maybe no one's going to click onto this video. But today I will be doing my predictions for the 25-26 Premier League season, and then I will do every single game and predict it, chuck it into the generator or whatever, the calculator, and then compare it the 380 game prediction to just what I actually think the table will be at the end, and see if they actually match, which they should on paper, but let's be honest, they're probably not. I'm probably going to be very biased towards most teams. So yeah, let's have a look first at my actual table, which I think it will be. And starting off number 20, we've got Burnley. Burnley. I think one thing I'll say positive with Burnley to start it off is that most teams that come down are the ones that play like their Man City or try to, like Burnley last time with Vincent Kompany. And this year coming up, they've been boring and defensive, and that is a hope for them. They have got Scott Parker, who's managing the Premier League a bit, but maybe not to the highest of success rates. But I just think the squad isn't strong enough. I think they'll get raided, and in the Premier League you need to score goals. Their defence was really good in the Championship, but this is the Premier League, and I think it's going to be another year in the Championship next year. Unlucky Burnley. Alright, number 19. You've got Brentford. I love Brentford. Everyone hates them and Brighton for doing what they're doing in the Premier League, and Bournemouth, because they're not meant to be there and all this, not Barclays football. But Brentford have gone from strength to strength to strength every single year in the Premier League. Adapted and always bringing through these great attackers and showcasing their just brilliant ownership, really, and brilliant strategies. Replacing players, Tony, Watkins, Ben Rama, even Neil Mopai really was good at Brentford, wasn't he? Now they've got to try and replace Mbeumo, who I think will definitely be leaving. They've got to try and replace Johan Wissa, who I think will also be leaving, but maybe not if Mbeumo goes. Also got to try and replace Christian Norgard, who's their best midfielder, I think, by a country mile. I know Damsgaard's been brilliant this year, or last year, but Norgard is the rock, the man that's going to hold it all together. They've also got to replace Thomas Frank, which I think they have, but I think it's also the most difficult and most important thing to get right. They've replaced him, I think, with an Irish set-piece coach called Keith, and I think that is a massive, massive risk for them to take. Like in the past, like I've said, they've been brilliant at replacing all these players. They've never had the problem of replacing Frank, and I think maybe Frank was the man to help those replacements fit and work. So I think it's going to be really difficult, and I think that's why they're 19th. It's going to be a struggle. Maybe they'll get it right. It's Brentford. Who knows? Okay, the final team to get relegated is Sunderland, and they'll probably hate me for this. I just think maybe the promotion was a little premature, whatever that means, really. I think they could have just probably done with an extra year in the Championship to settle into the Championship a bit better, maybe improve a little bit, because I think Jobe Bellingham was going to leave either way, so now they've got to replace him, and they've got the weakest squad out of all the promoted teams, so it's going to be a real big struggle for them. They have spent big so far, but is it being spent really well? Maybe, but we'll wait and see. But for me, the squad just isn't strong enough at the moment, especially with some of their big players leaving. Obviously, Joe Bellingham. It's tough. 17th, I've gone with Wolverhampton Wanderers. Matheus Cunha gone. That's just huge, isn't it? I mean, the main attacking threat. They've signed Strand Larsen permanently after his loan. He was good. He scored a few goals, didn't he? But no. Cunha is just going to be a massive hit for them. They struggled last year, and I think they'll just survive this year. 16th place, I've gone with West Ham United. A terrible year last year. The only team to finish below Tottenham and Man United that weren't relegated. No, that's not true. Tottenham finished below them. So what was it? So it was 16th again last season for West Ham, I think. If that's right. If that's wrong, please let me know in the comments. Maybe I've not done my research perfectly. I'm a massive fan of Graham Potter, but it didn't work at Chelsea, did it? He's not had long, but it's not massive. We didn't see massive changes between him and Lopetegui at West Ham, and it's just, is it going to work? I think they'll give it until January-ish time to make a decision on Potter. It might be flying. They might be top half of the table by January, and I'm completely wrong about Graham Potter, but I don't know. And I'm just basing this off what I've seen. They've not really got a striker. Kudus is left. It could be a struggle, especially with Paquetá as well. All the trouble that he's been going through at the moment. I think it's going to be a season of a telling season for West Ham. So we'll see. Okay, 15th place, we've got Leeds United. This is brilliant because obviously the last 2 years, all the relegated teams have gone down. Now I've got Leeds finishing 15th, very high. I think it's the biggest risk I've taken on this segment. But yeah, Leeds, I think they'll have the most pull. Out of all the promoted clubs, they'll get the best names. Proven names, they'd hope. They've got probably the most money out of those teams. They obviously won the championship last year. They've got, that pedigree. I feel like it's Leeds United. So maybe my head's, telling me to put them a little bit higher. Daniel Farke, mixed opinions. I'm not sure if he's good enough for the Premier League. We'll see. I think maybe them finishing 15th is because he gets sacked. Maybe. I don't know. Don't come for me, Leeds fans or Daniel Farke fans, if there are any specifically devoted fans to him. I don't know. 14th, Everton. Everton 14th because new ownership. They've got David Moyes. They've got a new stadium. It will be rocking, I think. Big names coming in, you'd hope. Barry coming in. Looks like a good striker. So it's what you need. You need goals, don't you? So especially for Everton. And you've been struggling with Beto and Calvert-Lewin for the last couple of years. So I think Everton will be in a really positive place next year. And 14th is the most positive I think I could give them. 13th is Bournemouth. I love Bournemouth, but they've lost names. They'll be losing names, I think, later on in the summer. And it's Bournemouth, so unlike Leeds, they don't have the pulling power, I feel like. I mean, maybe they will just be smart and sign players like, Moneyball it. And I think that's definitely a possibility, but it's a big hit. Some massive hits to their squad. So, a bit of a drop-off, but not too bad for Bournemouth. Number 12 is Crystal Palace. Mr. Consistent in the league. What else do I have to say? It's Crystal Palace. 11th place is Fulham. I just love their manager. I think he'll just boost them a couple of places from the squad level. I think The midfield is class as well. Alex Iwobi just seems brilliant. They've got Jimenez firing again. A couple of signings here and there, and they'll be flying. But only 11th because the rest of the list, I think, has just got a bit too much quality for Fulham. Number 10, top half of the table now, and it's Manchester United. Risky one, but obviously 16th last year, 15th last year, 15th, I think. I think Cunha and Mbeumo would be brilliant signings if they get both of them done, because their attack last year was just awful. It was shocking and it needed help, and I think this is the help it needs. Alongside a full season under Amorim. What's last year there for? First full season under Amorim? I can't remember. Bad research from me there. Whoops. A little bit more investment in that squad, and I think it's looking okay, but I'm not sure Amorim's the man to take him up to those heights again. The squad still isn't perfect, but I think there's some names that can pull them through. Bruno Fernandes, obviously, is one of them. So I think their attack is looking pretty relatively decent now. It's just the rest needs lifting a little bit. 9th is Nottingham Forest, a drop off from last year. I'm not saying it's a fluke, but I think it might have been a one season high, while other teams kind of were worse. A bit like the Leicester year. Obviously, Leicester were brilliant that year, but other teams were let down. Well, I'm not sure how to phrase that. They weren't that good. Chelsea and Man City had some of the worst years of their Premier League campaigns. Tottenham really only challenging and then finished third, embarrassingly. Forest I think will fall a bit. I also think some names going. Morgan Gibbs-White looks set to join Tottenham. I don't know though. The defence looks really good, and it is really good. But I just think they'll fall a bit. I think, the highs are gone. They started to fall at the end of last season, so 9th. 8th, we're going Brighton. Mainly because they're just a bit too inconsistent. The quality is always there, and the depth is always there at Brighton. I just think too many draws, too many unnecessary losses as well, and it always just makes them fall in that little bit short, and it's just frustrating for Brighton fans, I think. 7th is Spurs. I'm biased. I'm going to put them a bit higher than I actually think they'll finish. But 7th, Thomas Frank coming in. Brilliant appointment to replace Ange, even if that was the wrong one. Morgan Gibbs-White, hopefully signing in a couple of days. Kudu signed. Brilliant. And it looks like even more investments coming in to sign a new 6. Massive improvements. Hopefully they'll rise up the table. I think their negatives will definitely be in the Champions League. Having Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup, and the league, I think they'll just that's what will be their downfall next year. Too many difficult games, maybe still not enough depth. Number 6, Aston Villa. I have them above Tottenham, mainly for the fact that I think Unai Emery's just that guy. I think he'll manage the squad a little bit better over the season. I think they'll see less injuries probably, and they'll probably just handle the competitions better, spread it out, and preserve their players in a more sufficient way. Number 5, maybe just missing out on Champions League, I'm not sure with the new rules, is Newcastle. Anthony Elanga, unbelievable signing. I think they might have the best front 3 in England. Probably not. It's probably like top 3 though, but it's very good. Eddie Howe, I'm still not convinced on him for some reason. Good defensively, good attacking, but it's weird. Maybe it's the name. It seems odd to have Eddie Howe as a top 4 manager, but Also, the ownership has been frustrating for Newcastle fans, and I just think it's tough breaking into the top 4. So 5th, sorry Geordies. Right, into the top 4 now. Chelsea being the first on that list. Chelsea are okay. They're alright. They've got this Club World Cup under the belt. Massive win for them. Absolutely humongous. Smashing PSG, who are the best team in the world, I think. But 4th because, again, it's like similar to Newcastle. That top 3 just looks impenetrable. Like, who is finishing above them? The 3 coming up, who I think is, easy to figure out who they are. It's just a bit unfortunate for them. They've obviously spent so much money and everything, but their squad looks unreal. People trying to downplay it. I think it's a joke. The players are just brilliant. They've spent maybe too much. There's too many players, but I can't say too much because it is a good squad. Maybe they've just overspent a little bit. Top 3 now, and this is where it gets a bit dicey. People will probably come at me. Number 3 is Arsenal. Again, maybe a bit biased. They finished second 3 years on the run. I think the first 2 years they did it, Man City won the league and Liverpool weren't at the level probably needed to win the league. Then this year, Man City had that absolute stinker. They needed the rebuild and everything, so Arsenal got that second again. But now, this year, Liverpool have the best squad in the league, I think. Based off of last year, they obviously won it. Man City have had their rebuild, they've spent their money, and they just look phenomenal again. Obviously, De Bruyne's gone, and I think that'll be a massive hill to get over, a massive hole in their squad. But it's Man City, it's Pep Guardiola. I think they'll do it. So Arsenal drop from second to third for the first time in a few years. So, right, we're down to the final 2. It's either Liverpool or Man City. So who do I think is going to win the league? I've put Liverpool. I think they'll do it back to back. Slot overtaking what Jurgen Klopp has done at Anfield. Oof, Premier League at least. I just think they're miles ahead of where City are. I think City will need time to gel. And I know it's Pep, but Pep likes a year of a player before really making them a first team player. And there's so many players that are new that's just not going to be able to happen. And I think it will take time for them to really just play like Pep wants them to. Some will obviously find it easier than others, I think. But I think where Liverpool are, where their squad's at, I think it's further into the project. Like I said, Man City just have to rebuild. And that's not set them back a few years, but it's means they just need a little bit more time. I might be massively wrong. I probably will be. But I'm rooting for Liverpool over Man City every day of the week. So, hopefully, hopefully they get it done. The one downside I think Liverpool have is Arne Slot. I think he's a brilliant manager. Just Man City obviously have Pep. That's just probably the GOAT manager. But Liverpool have that squad. They have the experience of the players. And I think they'll just get it done. Anyway, that was my Premier League predictions. Now on to 380 game predictor table calculator, or whatever it's bloody called. Unfortunately, guys, I'm going to have to make this a 2-part video as major technical difficulties have interrupted the production of this massively. I'm very angry right now, but I thought it was best to just, whet the appetite for part 2, rather than leave this channel dead for about 2 more weeks, because I'm just tired, because the amount of difficulties I've had with the computer, this fucking thing right here, it's rubbish. I just have to see what I can do. Just remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss the part 2 where I react to, or I do my 380 predictions and compare that table to the table I've just done. Sorry, very much sorry. Fuming, absolutely fuming. Bye.